Welcome, everyone, to the Executive Compass. This is where we get insights from executive firm founders. We'll dive into their story, how they got started, their challenges and opportunities, and how they're shaping their business for the future. For those of you joining this podcast, I'm Amisha Srimankar, founder of Vectra Growth Partners, and we specialize in helping executive firms scale their revenue in 12 months. Today's guest is Joe Long, founder of Edge Executive Search, and I am so excited to have him here and tell us a lot more about what he does and what his company does. Hey, Joe. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Misha. Thanks for having me. It's great to see you again. Yeah, I guess kind of diving into my background, I've been recruiting for almost 29 years. I spent about 15 years recruiting in high-frequency trading on the agency side. Joined KCG, which was a combination of Knight and Gecko merger. They were a large HFT firm and global high-frequency engineering, research, and trading recruiting for them. And left there in 2017. They were acquired by Virtu Financial, another top HFT prop trading firm, and then dove into crypto in 2018, where I helped Tagomi Systems hire their initial engineering leadership team. They were acquired by Coinbase 2 or 3 years later, and the founders of the firm I worked with at KCG, leaders from KCG, ex-Goldman partner, that became Coinbase's institutional platform. Mm-hmm. The person that I worked with that was the founder recruited me to go to Coinbase, and I sat in the executive leadership recruiting team where I was responsible for level 8 through level 10 leaders, which is at a very senior level, mostly Google, Meta. So I kind of stepped out of my lane. I was not doing anything in HFT anymore. So it was a really great experience. I was there 5 months before the IPO, went through the IPO, moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute. Worked very closely with the head of engineering to not only hire leaders of leaders for him, but to also develop a very streamlined process. One of Coinbase's values is efficient execution, which I hold true to my heart. Another thing is candidate experience, which is very, very important to me. But we created a process that was, very seamless, and candidate experience was top of mind. I left there when the crypto winter happened to go to DRW, where I ran recruiting for equities trading, research, science, and AI and crypto, pretty much across the board. I had the opportunity to work with the founder of DRW to build a core AI team in Palo Alto, and hired the head of AI and people around him, both from science and engineering. Subsequently built 2 AI startups in the compute space. One is a platform to provide compute access to scientists, which is a very hard thing to do. And the other one is Silicon Data, which is basically building a derivative product around the price of compute, which the CEO of DRW feels that it's going to be worth more than oil in 5 years. Very interesting idea that they've come up with. So fast forward 2.5 years, I started Edge last February with 2 business partners. We now have a team of 6. But I basically, going through this AI recruiting process with DRW and building the core AI team in Palo Alto and these other startups, I realized there was a big need, and obviously everyone knows that, in the AI recruiting space, from engineering to science to research, pretty much across the board. So I started Edge basically to, we're a very niche business. We're only AI startups, crypto startups, and then high frequency trading, in New York and Chicago. So we're a global firm, but really focused in those 3 areas. The AI startup space obviously is a hot space right now. We partner with VCs and work with their portfolio companies to help founders hire CTOs and head of engineering. They're basically seed and Series A companies. And we found that working with these VCs over the last year, we're now working with portfolio companies and founders, and that's only going to lead to more business for us as these companies scale and we build the relationships. Yeah. And Amisha, as you know, this is a relationship business. Sure. I have like 25,000 connections on LinkedIn. When I go out to reach out to companies and candidates, it's usually somebody that I know.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important.
It totally is. And you have a fascinating journey from all the way from Wall Street, Coinbase, DRW, and now, finding the company that you are. And have you always been in recruiting throughout your career?
Yes.
You have.
Right out of college.
Right out of college. Fabulous. And that's many decades.
I love it. It's so fun just to talk to smart people every day. And even if it doesn't go anywhere right now, it could be something 2 years from now. And just kind of a case point, I was at a hedge fund called Quantport, and I had never really done campus recruiting. And I would go on campus tours to help out with the recruiting team at KCG, for example, Princeton, etc. But at Quantport, I actually built an internship program, and I'm an executive recruiter, right? Into Caltech, Stanford, Berkeley, UPenn, MIT, and sitting there and meeting students and collecting resumes and having really good conversations really was an amazing experience for me. And in the past couple of years, I hired actually a couple of people that I met at UPenn and Stanford and Princeton, actually 3 people. So that's very beneficial. And students reach out to me all the time. And, if their background looks really interesting, I'll talk to them because, again, I might make an introduction and help them get their first job. And I'm not collecting a fee on it. But it could be 5 years from now when I talk to somebody that I met and helped out, 5 years ago. So I think that's very important, very valuable. And I love building the relationship. It's all about relationships with us.
Yeah, it totally is. I think executive recruiting is so heavy on relationships, and I love that you are still in communication with these people who you maybe have helped them get a job or met them on campus, and then some way in the universal ways that you kind of still are in touch with them, you work with them, and all the things. You specialize in AI, crypto, and might I say federal contracting sectors.
Quantitative trading.
Yes. Okay. What ties these seemingly different domains together for you? Like, what is interesting about them?
So all the hedge funds and trading firms, these are prop HFT, high frequency trading firms. They all look for, and with AI startups and crypto startups and Coinbase, they look for the same skill sets. It's software engineers, hardware engineers, researchers, scientists, traders. So pretty much it goes across the board. So, we may be looking for somebody from HFT for an AI startup because the tech stack and the skill set is very applicable to other industries. We also make introductions within the prop trading and hedge fund world in New York, Miami, and Chicago. But the skill sets are the same.
Yeah. And what are the roles that you typically hire for?
Software engineers, hardware engineers, quant researchers, applied scientists, and quantitative traders.
And what does your day-to-day look like in the business?
I interview a lot of people and meet with my team, and we're building out this AI tool that we are going to be raising capital for. We built out this smart bot, basically. I've been working on doing some coding with my partner, and this is something that we're going to go to market. We're looking to raise capital right now, and that's a tool that we're using internally that has been extremely successful for us, where we can help hire managers develop job descriptions on the fly rather than waiting 10 days. That was a big problem being internal. It would take a while because everyone's so busy to get job descriptions. So this tool builds job descriptions. You put all your job descriptions in there. You add a resume, and it's going to give you feedback, percentage fit per job. And then when you do the interview, it'll create notes that are extremely detailed that we present to our clients. Like, we're extremely buttoned up. Being internal for the last 10 years, I know exactly what, hiring managers want to see and not to waste time. And we're all about quality over quantity. And I tell my clients that you may see one resume a week because it's a very, very competitive market, as you know, Isha. And, we need to be on top of everything, but it really is all about the quality.
Yeah. What are you seeing in terms of recruitment trends? Because, we hear crazy things like, okay, big tech is laying off. It's not a great time to be in the job market, but you're seeing it differently where startups are thriving. AI startups are thriving. They are recruiting talent. They're hungry for it. What is your take on this in this economic situation?
Yeah, so within big tech, they're very large teams. They have a lot of resources. Going to a startup where you really have to be scrappy and do a lot of things yourself. So that's why we're specifically recruiting out of HFT firms, because they're from smaller environments. They have to be scrappy and be very hands-on. So we're not actually recruiting out of Google and Meta. We're only recruiting out of HFT firms and other startups, knowing that they understand what the environment looks like. But it's extremely competitive. You look what's going on in Anthropic and OpenAI and even Tesla. I read an interesting article the other day that one day we're going to forget that Tesla built cars because they're building chips and robots right now. That's another obviously the chip market. We're working with a couple chip startups that are competing with NVIDIA that have gone Series B right now that are super interesting. But Tesla as well. They're going to be they're already obviously a successful company, but wait until they start, manufacturing these chips and the robots. And, Elon Musk talks about everybody's going to have a robot in their home in
Yeah.
5 years. He's trying to build 1 billion robots or something like that.
Yes,
So
yes, I
there's a
hear
lot
that.
of really interesting things going on the West Coast.
Yeah, I like that you said that, when it's a different environment when you work with a big tech company as opposed to when you go for a startup. You've got to be scrappy and all the things. Do you kind of provide some kind of coaching or mentoring to candidates when, say, they don't come from necessarily, they may come from big tech and they may not necessarily. Is there some of that coaching provided when they are ready to dive into, say, go for work for a startup?
Absolutely. My job is to be a coach, a mentor, and kind of a sales and marketing person for the company that I'm working for. It works both sides. Like I have a candidate, I have a client. I'm working for both people. So it's really, yeah, it's a lot of coaching. At Coinbase, it was a little bit different. It was preparing leaders. These are people running 1,000-person teams, so it was a little bit different than working for a startup. And most of them came from Google and Meta, et cetera. They understood, but it was a preparation, and I, prepared these candidates, for every step of the way. This is different where I need to coach them on, look, this is, you're going to work a lot, and but you need to coach, especially people at 2 to 3 years of experience. You need to, and they understand. A lot of these candidates worked at small firms or high frequency firms as interns, and they get it. The teams are much smaller than working at Google, Meta, or even like a JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs. It's much different.
Sure.
Profile we're looking for, we really need to be selective. Somebody, and it could be somebody that worked at Google out of school and went to a startup, and now they're ready to make a move, but they have that startup experience. They understand what it's going to take to be successful. But I'm there to be the coach along the way. We prepare our candidates very, very well, and our partners on the client side do the same thing. And we're working with VCs that their portfolio companies are looking for CTOs and heads of engineering, and we're partnering with founders of these companies. And this is only going to expand Edge, while we work with these VCs and start getting in with these founders. It's just going to open up a ton of business for us. And I think that's our model, is really working with the VCs and private equity firms to help these companies, because the founders don't have time just to recruit.
Yeah.
And they need us to develop their process, maybe implement their ATS, and just really help them scale, which is really fun.
No, it's exciting times, I'm sure. And tell me, how long does that process take? Say an employer, a company comes to you and say, these are the roles that we're looking to fill. How long is that process from the time you get that job description to the time that you've completed that placement?
They always say tomorrow, which I'm like, that's not going to happen. Probably 30 to 60 days, I would say. It depends. These skill sets are extremely in demand and very niche. So it takes a lot of deep diving with my team to figure out who we need to go after. And obviously we've, partnered with the founders to identify, clients, or firms that they want to target. And then we do a deep dive, and we talk to these founders every other day about what's going on, and I think really developing their process, because it could just be 3 people working for a firm. So we need to develop the process for them. And I had a lot of experience at Coinbase developing the process for leadership. So I apply that in all my clients, from who talks to who first, is there technical testing, kind of how everything kind of plays out, and which is fun, because I've done this before, and I think it's extremely important. I keep bringing up candidate experience, but that's always top of mind for me.
Yeah. What are the specific traits that you're seeing? I mean, the skill set is one thing. They definitely have to have that skill set to thrive in a startup and all the things. But what are the traits that you pick up on when you are talking to candidates and you just know that I think we've got a winner? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, so I always say to my business partners and my teammates that a resume or a LinkedIn profile is a story, right? You start at the bottom. Where did they go to school? Where did they internship at? Did they intern at a trading firm and got hired full time out of the internship? That's a very positive sign, obviously, because these HFT firms, high frequency trading firms, I should say, are extremely selective, and the bar is raised as high as you can imagine, as high as an AI startup. So it really is the profile, and reading the resume from the bottom up and figuring out, where they might be the best fit for, but it tells a story.
And what advice would you give to young professionals looking to break into either recruiting or the AI quant space today?
Yeah, I would say it's really about not only where you went to school, and a lot of these firms don't care where you went to school. It's about, your profile and your skill set. But I think really, as a young person in school, my daughter just graduated from Boston College, so I was giving her advice is, an internship really matters. Starting, say, in junior year. And then if you're not getting an advanced degree, you want to get hired. But the barrier to entry at some of these firms is extremely difficult for someone coming out of school. I mean, we would get hundreds of thousands of resumes at Coinbase and DOW in campus. And there's no way you can look through all the resumes. So the barrier to entry is very high, very tough. But getting that internship but I would recommend really just using LinkedIn as that tool to reach out. I mean, like you mentioned, I have 25,000 connections. So when I want to reach out to someone, I'll just reach out direct. But if I was to recommend somebody like my daughter, for example, just start connecting. Use LinkedIn as that tool, and you'll be successful.
Yeah,
It really is networking. And
it
going
really
to campus
is.
events is huge.
Yeah,
Stand in line, bring your resume, shake a hand, and you never know.
yeah. That's true. And you have a massive network. You just mentioned 25,000 connections. How do you build on that? How do you expand on those
Constantly expanding.
constantly?
And not only senior executives, but all levels. Just building my network. As I mentioned, you never know when that person that's graduating from Princeton in 5 years could be somebody that I could help out. And I'm happy to help them out, while they're in school or 2 years out or whatever it may be. But just really building out my network and constantly connecting with people. And, with AI startups, there's so many people out there that I'm connecting to on a daily basis and talking to them, and whether they're not a fit or not. I mean, it's really just building relationships. It's huge.
Do you start with folks who've had little to no experience, or is it more experience, or is it just at all levels?
All levels.
Interesting.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of these trading firms that we work with are looking for somebody with 2 years of experience, somebody with 10 years of experience, looking for engineers, scientists, researchers, traders. And we probably have a couple hundred roles that we're currently working on across those skill sets. So when we talk to a candidate, we basically say we're working with these 5 trading firms, these AI startups, and we kind of narrow it down to figure out which of the firms are the best fit for them.
Yeah. I'd love to know, in all your years of experience, what's changed the most and what still hasn't. Aside from relationships, we know that is the core in recruiting, and you kind of really personify it. But what other stuff has changed and what doesn't work anymore?
I mean, AI is at the forefront, as everyone knows, right? So we didn't have that 10 years ago, right? Machine learning and AI was kind of like an acronym at some point. Crypto came in 2012 or 14. So that's really created a lot of competition, for trading firms now that there's all these startups and AI firms and tech firms and crypto firms. Coinbase, for example, went through massive growth, 4 or 5 years ago. So I think, coming from a quant trading background, adding AI and crypto has just increased the competition. It's fierce out there for the top candidates, obviously.
Yeah. And from a business perspective, how much of AI, and I know, I love that you guys are, developing this app, and I want to kind of also go back to that, like when does that come out and what are your plans for that? But how much are you using it in your operations as a business?
AI?
Yes.
The app that we built that we just use, on one of the platforms, obviously there's Claude and Gemini and GPT, it makes us extremely efficient, and it really helps our client out to be efficient as well, and it helps them to learn about the process and all those types of things. But when this does launch, we're going to be hopefully integrating it with several ATSs and providing this to the startups, so the founders, once they have their team set, they can use this tool to make them more efficient, and we'll be there to help them out along the way. My
Amazing.
business partner is highly technical,
Yeah.
and doing a lot of the coding for this, so we work very well together. I'm the product guy and he's the coder, essentially.
Excellent. Does it have a name yet?
Accelerate.
Accelerate.
Yeah, we're still in stealth mode, but that's not a secret. It's just a name I came up with because we want to accelerate the recruiting process. Is essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the timeline for it to be live and come out?
Probably the next 3 or 4 months. We're working on a prototype now and a demo that we're going to be able to show. We want to show it to VCs first for their portfolio companies. So probably within 3 to 6 months. And once we have that built, then we're going to raise capital to really take it to the next level.
Excellent. And Joe, I'd love to know what are your thoughts on AI being part of the recruiting process itself? Meaning, candidate selection, interviewing candidates, or is that, do you think there's room for AI? I know a lot of some companies have AI interviewing candidates. What's your take on that?
I think it's extremely important. Like I mentioned, accelerate the process, efficiency, being able to put a resume into this system we're building and have it spit out the information that will tell founders which role this candidate could be a good fit for and notes around why or why not. It's it takes like 5 seconds. I used
Amazing.
to have to like write up notes and it would take an hour after an interview to get everything logged into an ATS. This does it within 5 seconds.
Amazing. I mean, imagine the operational headaches that it can be saving a lot of companies. And I can't wait, to see what that looks like and how founders are, using
Yeah, I'd
those.
love for you to demo it once we have it ready.
Yeah, no, totally. I would love to see it. And you saying you're currently using it with your the companies that you work with?
Yes. Well, we're just using it internally. No one's using it externally yet. We're
Okay.
just using it just for ourselves, and it's working out great. And we're able to onboard recruiters that may not have a lot of experience, and they can use this tool to make them very successful.
Yeah. And as we, are going into 2026, I mean, as we dive deeper into this year, what are the biggest other trends that you're seeing in executive recruiting across AI and crypto?
There are so many companies spinning out. One VC we're working with on the crypto side has 150 portfolio companies. Just to give you context, there's a lot going on. And we have the pending IPO of OpenAI and Anthropic. That's going to, I think, allow us to recruit out of there because people are going to be vested. They've been there for 4 or 5 years. They want to take another shot and go to a startup. So, yeah, it's just a very, very competitive market across AI, crypto, and quant trading. The hedge funds and the trading firms are not only looking for AI people, they're looking for crypto traders and all sorts of things. There's so much going on.
Yeah, no, definitely. You also said that you recruit or you matchmake candidates and companies on a global level too, not just the US. Where all are you active?
A lot in Asia. There's a lot in crypto going on in Asia. There's a lot of growing AI companies in Asia. Not so much in Europe. Maybe Israel. Israel has a lot going on. A lot of very smart engineers there, obviously. But mostly it's the US. Mostly it's New York, Chicago, Bay Area, and Miami.
Excellent. Great. Fantastic. And other than AI, what skills or leadership qualities are you seeing they're in hot demand right now among top AI executives and
I would
engineers?
say hands-on technical leaders, not pure managers, candidates that can not only lead a small team and influence engineers, but roll up their sleeves and code. That's always been, especially in high frequency trading, any engineering leader is extremely hands-on and can dive in and not only mentor developers and influence developers, but get in and code, and they want to do that.
And what about the leadership skills? Should they be able to explain or sell, market ideas and things? What I'm trying to understand is technical competence almost everything, or do they need to have that skill of selling and marketing as well?
A little bit of everything, yes. I mean, their recruiting is top of mind for any engineering leader. It's probably one of the top things that they have to do, and obviously lead their team and mentor and influence. From a leadership perspective, they need to be pretty much very, very well-rounded.
Amazing. Any last piece of advice? And I know you've already said that what candidates can do to get on this path and be hired by startups and what's working, what's not, what does that career path look like? What is your advice to AI startups, because you work with them? What would you tell them when it comes to hiring these AI executives, engineers, and other?
I would say obviously quality over quantity. You don't want to just hire somebody to hire, right? One bad engineer will take you months to debug their code, and if they're writing bad code. But I would say you got to be fast to market. You have to have fast feedback. You have to get back on resume reviews quickly and move really fast. There's so many times we have candidates, the client takes a week to get back to us, and next you know they have offers or they're close to offers. It could
Interesting.
happen really, really fast.
Wow, that
So it
sounds
really is time to market. For us too, as recruiters, we need to get people on the phone with me or my partner and get them to one of these companies and make sure that they move these people through the process quickly.
amazing. Thank you, Joe. This has been a fantastic conversation. I'd love to let people know where can they find you and connect with you so they become part of that growing network of 25,000 relationships that you have.
I would love to connect with anybody in the space. My LinkedIn is Joe Long. Our website is edgesearch.ai, and my information's on there as well. But if anybody's interested in connecting, please send me a connection request and we can catch up. That would be great. I would love to.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Misha. Have a great day. It was great chatting.
You too.